Hey guys, welcome to the Sim Racing Paddock. I'm William Marsh, and yes, I am still alive. So, sorry for it being a little while between doing live streams. Was recently just knocked flat on my butt with a cold for about half a week, and yeah, that's life. But yesterday, I noticed that there is a newer version of Circuit de la Sarthe, also known as Le Mans. I apologize if I mispronounced it, but I wanted to test it out in rFactor 2. So we are going to be testing that out and having some fun. So if I also released a new video recently, if you guys haven't seen it already, I talked about rFactor 2 and also some things, in my opinion, what they were doing right, what they were doing wrong, and just sort of how I think rFactor 2 could be kind of salvaged per se. Because still, if you are familiar with this channel, you always know that rFactor 2 is one of my favorite titles. But there is admittedly a lot wrong with it. So, figuring out how to really refine rFactor 2 and bring in content that people want. That's a big thing. So, for example, I was talking about cars and tracks. Sure, it's cool that they have the Panos AIV Roadster. That brings back memories from like Midtown Madness. But realistically, that's not going to be a car a lot of people are going to drive. Things like that. So they need to take that into consideration. And hold on a sec. There we go. Game capture is working now. So, also like Atlanta Motorsports Park. Fun track, but realistically, not everyone is going to really be like buying rFactor 2 for that. So let's see. Le Mans, though. Anyone would buy for Le Mans. And Virtual LM has a great version. And the problem is, it's based off of 1991. We didn't really have a great modern version. And I'm hoping this is a good modern version. So, 24 hours Dumas. And I think it's fitting to test it out first with the Enduracers mod. So let's go to Endurance or Endurance Series. New Le Mans track is great, but AI line is a little odd. Okay. I'll start off with GTE, I think. That should be fun. And we'll go with the Corvette, which is going to be interesting because ISI, they're putting out their own version of the Corvette soon. And this is the United Sports Car Championship version. So it's interesting. They have the Le Mans version. They have the USCC version for 2014, 2015, 2016. So let's see. Let's go with the 2015 Le Mans version. And we will have to check out the... we'll need to check out what the degrees of rotation is, because with the OSW in rFactor 2, it doesn't automatically adjust the degrees of rotation on a per car basis, so you need to go into the SimuQ profiler. And SimRacing 604, great to be back. Man, it's been eventful past couple weeks. Even like yesterday, I was planning on doing a live stream after the San Jose Sharks. They got eliminated. But after that game, I was planning on doing a live stream. Then I get a phone call from my sister. They blew a tire on the highway. So I had to meet them and wait for AAA with them. So that basically shot my night. But hey, family matters, right? Just gotta love these freaking long load screens. So one of the things also that Studio 397 they need to work on, and thankfully I'm pretty certain they are working on it, is optimizing the code. Because when rFactor 2 first released, there was code in that sim that traced back all the way to 1999, like with the sports car GT sim. there was deprecated code that was still in the title that just bloated it even more. So they need to clean up the code. They need to optimize it, where we've been waiting almost, I'd say, close to a minute for this load screen, which, I mean, it has to generate shaders and stuff for this specific track. It's the first time loading a third-party track, but still, that's fairly unacceptable, especially considering it's not a full race weekend. I think we're just doing a test session. Granted, we have AI cars loading, but yeah, I think as code is optimized for the sim, as it's optimized and properly taken advantage of, I think we will see better results. Okay, so this car uses 612 degrees rotation. SimuCube is showing 612, so we should be good. For also, I just want to mention that, or wait a second. We need to turn up the car-specific force feedback multiplier. So, in one of my videos, people were talking about how the car-specific force feedback multiplier should always be at 1.0 in rFactor 2, and then you adjust the settings in the SimuCube profiler. So in the SimuCube profiler, I have force feedback strength set to 30%, which would be about 10 Newton meters of torque through the steering wheel. And then with specific force feedback multiplier at 1.0 in the sim, that means we're getting that full taken advantage of. So let's see. I like the sound of this car personally, except you aren't hearing it, I'm seeing. So hold on a sec. Yep, I have it set to Oculus Rift audio. That's why. So you should be getting audio now. Yes, you are. Okay. I like this sound. Except frame rate seems abnormally low. Hold on. 40 frames per second? Really? Why is it that low? Oh, or wait, no, it's not that. Let's try something. Man, that's slow frame rate. Well, that's 60 right now. So, track feels pretty good. Reminds me definitely of the iRacing version. Definitely not at the same level visually. Definitely not the same visually. But the sound of this. I'm gonna shut up real quick. Oh, that thing is singing. It's singing. Bouncing on the limiter. Good downshifting sounds. Very green track. Very green track. Or this could be based off the mod version for Assetto Corsa. And I just get rear-ended right there. What the... That's weird. Let's check something real quick. No, I don't have the setting mapped. I was going to try to check my damage, but yeah. Seems insanely high on the frame rate. Like a very heavy toll on the frame rate right now. Because to put in perspective, I'm using a GTX 1080. And it shouldn't be bottlenecking like this. This is not the official Studio 397. This is from the Endo Racers mod. The official Studio 397 one, that is going... Actually, there is the GT3 one. But then there's also the... so, yeah, there's the Endo Racers GT3... Or not Endo Racers, the Studio 397 GT3. That's the Callaway Corvette. And then there is... there's going to be the GTE C7R, which is released in that Le Mans pack. Yeah, I'm wondering what is up with that AI. What? Okay, the downside, Corvette doesn't sound good on the outside. That sound. Inside sounds good. Outside. So let's check something real quick. I'm just going to check my settings. Video res. Yep, 60 hertz for the monitor. I don't have any sync or V-sync or anything on. Display settings, just everything on high. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to set it to a private test. So let's do that, and then let's do something a bit fun. We're going to set it to 730. And then, so we're going to see it go from evening to night. But I want to see if it's the AI causing that issue. Because it could have been AI. That's what I'm wondering. Never a dull moment, huh? But yeah, day to night transition is one thing that rFactor 2 really does well. But also, one thing to mention is I don't think I'm going to test weather out on this, because one of the things they mentioned in the changelog is weather is not done yet on this track. It's not fully taken advantage of. So that's going to take a little while. This is still version 0.8. Hey, Jimmy, how's it going, man? Fun to have you in the stream for once. But yeah, I'm going back to the vet. Don't worry. Jimmy in a Le Mans stream? Nah. Okay. So let's see if this helps with the frame rate. And I do have headlight mapped. So my guess is that this would be based, because one thing that rFactor 2 does is they set a specified date for each track. For example, when I was testing Silverstone, Marcel Offermans told me that they based Silverstone off of July, which I think is sort of correspondent to when the Grand Prix event is, if I remember correctly. And then this, my guess is the race would be May. So that's why 7:30, it's not sunset or anything. But okay, it does feel smoother. Does feel smoother. Not too much smoother, but somewhat smoother. Let's check the frame rate real quick. So about 80 frames per second, which is good enough. Oh, it'd be June, my bad. Sorry, I'm brain fart. But you can see it's a little smoother now. Not perfect, but it's okay. Except I just realized something. Hold on. Needed to adjust something real quick. Gonna go black for a sec. There we go. I still had it set to display capture. But man, I freaking love the sound of this car. So what part is Tetra Rouge? Or is it Tetra Rouge, or however it's pronounced? But yeah, I'm interested. I'm considering doing the iRacing 24 hours of Le Mans. If anyone's interested in trying to join up within a team, maybe we can talk about it in the Discord channel. Because I haven't done an endurance race with driver swaps in forever. Alright, last endurance race I did, I was still with Inside Sim Racing. Alright, so actually I've never done an official endurance race with driver swaps. I did a beta test with endurance race. So it'd be fun to do an actual endurance race. Whoa. Okay. That wasn't good. Let's get back on track. What's interesting, because this car, quite neutral handling for being a front engine car. I want to at least get a few clean laps, and then we can switch around, try it with a couple different cars. But also, we're going to have nighttime come in soon. Jimmy put me via chat. That sounds about right. What's interesting, I keep on just sort of overshooting the corners. I'm not the best at Le Mans, personally. Also, it feels like, by default, the track is pretty green. And that's another small complaint I have with rFactor 2. So they have the innovative real road. They have that. But for most tracks, both first party and third party, they don't have really developed presets. So they don't have like real road presets to put together a solid layout and racing line. So you almost have to either create your own real road preset or just like build up the rubber yourself. Well, low sound. rFactor 2 has some incredible road cars. They have the Honda NSX, which was developed by Niels Heusinkveld and someone. Whoa! Oh my God! What the? That just like dropped like 40 or 50 frames. Yeah. We just went from 85 frames per second to 40. Let's turn on headlights now. Okay, I'm just monitoring too right now. I think it's largely due to this track being very, very unrefined. Because, as mentioned, GTX 1080, and we're struggling to get 60. Well, now we're getting 65 right now. Well, yeah, the question is, does Studio 397 have the rights to the rFactor 3 name? I've heard a lot of discussion with that. But yeah, now we're getting 70, so I think it's just they need to optimize it more. And of course, this is a beta. This is version 0.8. But yeah, now we're getting acceptable frame rate, I'll call it that. But now it's starting to get darker. We're starting to see the sunset. And for the record, for people who dropped in recently, I have time of day progression set to 20 times progression. That's why it's getting dark so quickly. So now it's legit dark. Let's take it easy here. A lot of detail in the track, which is pretty darn nice. Very nice sound out of this Corvette. I totally misjudged that corner. Yeah, Jimmy, I want to say it's in the controller JSON file, where you can set to use a separate thread for force feedback. So you have to go into like controller.json, and it's towards the bottom where you have it set to like just a yes or no thing. Yeah, performance. So Mike's theory is if we go into the first corner, or the last corner into the front straight, and we drop from about 70 frames per second to about 40 or 30, that is what, like, it's just horribly optimized or something. So we're now starting to get into this area where it's more heavier on objects. So yeah, Ferris wheel pops in and we're down to 50. Boom, we're almost sub 50 now. Now up to 60. Really starting to feel the stutter here. Boom, down to 47. Alright, Jimmy, you have a fun race, man. But man, that drop, you really feel it. I think this is a very poorly optimized track. So this was based off of an rFactor 1 track for Le Mans 2012, and they modernized it. So yeah, they modernized like an older rFactor track, and I think that's a lot of what brought this up. So I'm gonna do an interesting experiment. So this was the Le Mans 2017. To compare, let's go Virtua LM. So this is Le Mans 91. Older circuit, but we will... And apologize, guys. Let's go away from that Corvette for now. We might return to it later. But BMW M3 E92. Let's try this out. There is a nice element for the rFactor and rFactor 2 visuals that it feels like things have mass to it. This might be an unpopular opinion, but for some reason that the the iRacing experience, everything kind of feels almost like model cars. I think it's the mix of the lighting and the shaders and the way that iRacing looks, in my opinion, makes it feel like it's almost remote control cars. If you look at replays and stuff, it just looks a little too shiny. And Thomas, yes, I have. I really enjoy rFactor 2 in VR, except it's also one of the least developed VR titles. So, for example, if you're in an open wheel car, you turn around, you can't see the rear tires. So, I don't know if it would be similar to ambient occlusion, where it's like the out of sight, out of mind thing, but they don't render the rear tires or parts of the car that are not usually seen. So you don't usually see the rear tires, you don't see the rear wing, you don't see rear bodywork. So it is, yeah, it's kind of complicated. So let's check degrees of rotation. I think it's still 612. Yes, it is. So yeah, this is the M3. Also, another good sounding car. Whoops. And I stalled it. There we go. So let's check frame rate off the bat. So we're still at 7680 on the front straight. So we are getting double the frame rate. So TM Gaming, if you go to, I think it's Sim Racing Life on Facebook, you can get the download link, but I'm not sure if I'd recommend it because it's just very poorly unoptimized. So right now I actually just switched to, this is the Virtua LM Le Mans 91 version. So it's the older version of Le Mans, but yeah. Yeah, Thomas, admittedly, for virtual reality, I feel that Project Cars 2 is the best for like the all-purpose sim racing title. One of my favorite VR titles, though, would be Dirt Rally. That instills a sense of fear in you that is just remarkable. But yeah, so, oh, URD has a link on their Facebook. Yeah, that's actually where I got it. But I was having some major frame rate issues. So yeah, TM Gaming. For example, on the rear straights, or let's just look at the frame rate on this track. Yeah, I'm getting over 100 here. Over 100 frames per second, and I was struggling to get 60. I was struggling to get 60 frames per second at the back straight in that track. So it's tough because I wanted to see that track do well, but it looks like it has too many problems. But yeah, I'm getting over 120 at some points. At this point, I was getting half the frame rate. So it was just very, very unoptimized. Maybe when they optimize it, I could recommend it. Also, note, speaking of optimization, I don't think this version of Le Mans is optimized for DX11. I don't think it's set for DX11. So this is still set for DX9. So it's not optimized to take full advantage of DirectX 11, and we're still getting 120 frame per second. It's pretty mind-boggling. So let's turn that off. I really like the sound of this car, though. It's like back when BMW race cars actually sounded good. And now the sunset. So yeah, it's interesting because I know I was talking about this being like Le Mans showcasing 2017, but I guess I'm showcasing something else now. I'm showcasing something differently. The difference between a high quality custom, or not custom, but a track that put a lot of effort into making it versus versus the sort of just cut and paste, not properly optimized, etc. TM Gaming, this came with the latest update for rFactor 2. This new HUD is built into rFactor 2. And they're still working on it. This is kind of a placeholder HUD because they're working on a new system to properly take advantage of new advancements. So this is sort of like a placeholder HUD for now, but they are they're working on it. Hold on. Man, this track is still dark. Whew, got a little loose there. I'm hoping it's not too dark here. Because I'm wondering, because since I think this is technically still a DX9 track, will it light up properly? Let's check something. So it's 9:54 p.m. according to this. Okay, now it's starting to light up. But also, Le Mans is known for being a dark track. But I really like this version. You can just notice that from this, it is so much smoother. It is legitimately smoother frame rate. So right now, frame rate I'm still running 100. I'm still running over 100 frames per second in this version. So, Jamie, I'm not sure if you were in earlier. We were testing out the 2017 Le Mans, but it ended up being way, way too bad. It took way too much of a toll. So consider we're getting 110 frames per second, and at this point, with the 2017 version, we were struggling to get 50. Or we were struggling to get 60, I should say. We were getting about 50. So, seeing this, it is nice and refreshing to see this actually being done pretty well. It's kind of funny though, I just realized I'm looking over at my stream management screen and it's darker on my monitor than what you're seeing. So what I'm actually seeing is darker than what you're seeing. Go figure. So I'm kind of looking at that side screen and it's giving me a better view. Yeah, that's pitch black for me, but you could see a little bit there. But this is a fun version of the track. It really is. And really well optimized. Because you can see top right, frame rate. And it's not putting too much of a load on the GPU. This is the Virtua LM Le Mans 90, or based off of 1991. So this is the 1991 Le Mans version. Part of the reason why it's so dark. Oh, I missed that corner. So yeah, we're getting good frame rates through this. So you can see it's not my system that was making it why, that was causing low frame rates. Because we're getting over 100 at night with the lighting and everything. Alex. Well, they improved the lighting over the years to make it safer. Okay, so after we finish this lap, we'll try something else because the stream's initial plan didn't go according to plan. There was a recent update to the Nürburgring Nordschleife version in rFactor 2. So we can experiment with that. So yeah, 76 frames per second at the front straight. And we were getting about 40 to like 35 at the new version. Hopefully this Circuit de la Sarthe is upgraded in version 0.9 and 1.0. But that frame rate makes it undrivable right now. And I'm using a GTX 1080. And it's near undrivable, which is frustrating. Granted, I'm at high settings across the board, basically. But still, it shouldn't be that bad. So, let's see. What should we do? let's go away from Endurance Series now. And I haven't given the RXC Turbo much love. Let's give that a try. And let's set it to 5 p.m. No, 4:30. Should give us about a lap or so of clear sailing. So yeah, this was another conversion from rFactor 1 that actually did a decent job at least. Thank you, Adventures of Fig Jam. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you very much. Hey, Moving Chicane. I'm doing pretty well. TM Gaming, this is available in, I want to say, it might be in the Steam Workshop now, but it was in the rFactor 2 forums. So this has been a long project. It's been in development for years for rFactor 2. I think I first drove this version of this the Nordschleife back in 2013, to put in perspective. So yeah, this is a good version of the Nordschleife. The issue is basically every other sim has a laser scan Nordschleife. This isn't a laser scan version. This is based off of the Column 8 version. So this was based off of the Column 8 version that was in the original rFactor. I have no idea what that is, Project Fox Online. By the way, sorry if I'm just sniffling. As mentioned before, I'm just getting over a cold, and it's like, couldn't breathe out of my right nostril for like 4 days. So this will not be 612. Project Fox Online, I don't really condone piracy and stuff like that. So it's like, I'm willing to support the community that built this track, as opposed to someone who just rips the Assetto Corsa version. And hopefully, Studio 397 gets a Nordschleife someday. Hopefully. Especially because, for example, I want to say they sell the point cloud data now. So this is 580 degrees. So let's go to 580. There we go. Center the wheel. All right. So that's proper degrees of rotation. Let's check frame rate real quick. Yep, 73. Kind of cracks me up though. This car almost sounds like a diesel. Sound of this really reminds me of, say, like the, what is it? Like the Audi R18 race car. That's what the sound reminds me of a bit. No clue if it's accurate, because I've never heard this real-life car. Very strong force feedback, though. And still, considering I'm only at 30% through this wheel. I would love to see the historic version of the Nordschleife, because consider that rFactor 2 is one of the best titles in terms of historic content. Those classic F1 cars, those old Houstons, which were based off of the old Lola race cars. The Houston Descender, which is like the old NASCAR. The Shelby AC Cobra. so much automotive history. And also, the 70s F1 cars. For example, I think you can still, you can drive the early release version of the Brabham BT44B. Fun car. I did an old video on that back in the day. Man, this car's a beast. So this is going to get dark before we finish the lap, I think. But yeah, for example, this, like, so talking about inaccuracies, that incline up to the chicane there, too steep. Elevation changes feel off in some parts. So you'll notice that this is a little weird. And then the bumps, I think, in my opinion, are a little too harsh in rFactor 2. Really unsettles the car. Hold on. Dang, I didn't have invulnerability on, but that was square on the rear, so hopefully that didn't cause too much damage. According to this, there's no damage. Okay. Yeah, it's tracking straight. But you can just see the way the bumps are in this. Stuart, I don't have any sync on. Does fast sync take no hit or something? I don't have any V-sync on at the moment. Hold on, someone's knocking on the door. What's up? 1 second. Okay. Okay. Never mind. It wasn't cold. It wasn't someone knocking doors. It was just water treatment. That was the last we saw. We're good. So hold on. Yeah, here we are. Why are the wheels so loose when you get to 300 kilometers an hour? Yeah, it just seems like the bumps are way too harsh. It just upsets the balance of the car. So, I hate to say it, but it's almost like the laser scan versions of other tracks just ultimately spoil us. Where you just see all the bumps and this part just feels totally wrong. There just is way off compared to any other version of this track. So, this is almost undrivable for me now. I hate to say that. This version of the track is nearly undrivable. looks pretty good, but it's like, if they were able to get the mesh based off of laser scan data, because that bump right into there just unsettles the car, and it's like, yeah. Okay, let's find a different thing. It could also be because the car might just be set up to react to bumps harshly. So, let's try something. Let's go back to Le Mans 91. Well, Doppelganger, we know for a fact it's not laser scanned. It's based off of an old rFactor 1 mod version. So that's one of the tough parts. So, let's go historic. Do I have Group C? Yes, I do. So, we have, like, the Group C prototypes. Let's drive that at Le Mans. Let's go with the Sauber, though. And let's just do real time. Why not? And then you can set that. So, one of the things I love regarding rFactor 2 is that you can set multiple devices for shifter at the same time. So for any other sim, basically you would have to remap the shifter to use something like a sequential or H pattern. Or actually not for H pattern. So to use paddles and sequential at the same time. For this, you can just set Alt Shift. So the alternate shifter command, which is nice. And now we have to just wait to load. But this should be pretty fun, guys. So let's check something. Garage setup. So it's set up for... We'll set up some long gears. Lower that. The Formula E cars are surprisingly fun for as little sound as there is. So, oh, why the heck is there a speed limiter on this? I don't think there were pit speed limiters in this car back in the day. It's called Alt Shift, I think. Where you can have like Alt commands for Alt, throttle, brake, clutch, shift, steer. The brakes, they do nothing. I want to see what speed we can hit with this car. Oh god, that's bumpy. Here we go. Oh my god. I forgot how rough the Mac Core force feedback was. Cool. I forgot one of the things I didn't like about the Mac Core mods were that the force feedback got so freaking rough. Just felt totally unrealistic. So that's 140, 150, 160, 190, 200, 210. Early on the brakes. Whew. I haven't heard anything from Petros Mac in so long. Him and I used to talk a bit back in like 2014 or 2015, but then it's like he fell off the radar. So I made an editorial on like what happened. You could just see the car, the wheel bouncing in my hands. I'm white knuckling this puppy, and the wheel's just ripping itself out of my hands. This is with 30% strength. But also, this car hasn't been touched in like 2 or 3 years. So it's just not taking advantage of the latest rFactor 2 stuff. rFactor 2 has a lot of problems, but when it works well, it works well. That's the thing. Right now I'm using an outdated car on an outdated track. So this is like one of the worst examples to show off rFactor 2 in. But when you get it set up properly, it's freaking awesome. Whoa, shoot. Okay. I just had to let go or else that would have possibly hurt me. So yeah, you can just see the car bouncing. And then here, hits that and just flies up. Okay, so I wonder, let's do an experiment. Suspension. Let's raise up the ride height. And then make the car a little softer. Yes, Michael, you were missing earlier. Basically what ended up happening was it didn't really work well. So, hold on. So the 2017 version had too many problems personally. So I ended up just turning it off. So basically I was getting, with my GTX 1080, I was struggling to get 60 frames per second. And at some points it was dropping to 40. Well, this oscillation isn't good either, so that could be part of it. Why are we getting that oscillation? Hold on. Let's try this. Whoa, okay. What's my opinion between the modern Le Mans? In real life, I think I prefer the older Le Mans. Newer has some nice things going for it. Where, for example, they have the light up stuff onto Armco to help drivers see better. But this, I think, has a better flow. Okay. I think, or let's do an experiment real quick. So, let's try something. Let's try driving rFactor 2 as it's intended. So, let's pick out a newer car, newer track. So let's go with the Callaway Corvette C7. Let's just try with that real quick. So we'll do the Callaway C7. And let's pick one of their newer tracks. Zandvoort's a little too unrefined, I think. Avid, could you send me a link to that or something? So, let's go. I'm not a big fan of it, but let's go NOLA. Let's go NOLA Motorsports Park. I think that would be fitting. But yeah, I might have to check that out, ACR. So Chemo, basically their plan is to keep updating rFactor 2. They want to keep updating rFactor 2 and bring it back to life, basically. So after stream, I'll definitely have to change the icons and stuff for this stream because it kind of went away from under me. But hey, we're having fun, guys, right? And after this, I might try a simulated race. So I'll simulate a race after this and have fun that way. But test drive, show off rFactor 2 as it can work pretty well. I'll just call it that way. I have some exciting ideas for an experiment. So we'll have a fun race. I'll call it that way. But freaking load screens. It's like the 90% loads pretty quickly and then it takes a minute for the last 10. Excuse me. Let's check something. Degrees rotation's just a hair off. Okay, so 540. Here we go. Is this the way we go? Okay, I think I made a mistake. He's pointing me this way. Okay. Follow the signs for the main tracks. Okay, there's the flagger guy, I guess. So do we turn in here? Oh, I just totally cut that corner. I thought you just go between the curbs, but nope. But NOLA's an interesting track because IndyCar raced there 1 year and it was just totally soaked. And then they just never returned. I don't think they ever returned. I think they just ran one season. What's interesting, a lot of long straights in this version of the circuit. Because here, it comes up on a pretty long straight. You stay flat through this. It's flat, 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 flat. Maybe crack the throttle a bit here. Drag the brake. Then another long straight. So I can totally understand why IndyCar didn't really return. It could have been exciting for like drafting and push to pass, but not very technical in some ways. But then also, at the same time, it's these tight sections. And also, it's a very flat track. Not very dynamic in terms of elevation changes. So, put in perspective, my favorite track, Sonoma Raceway. Great track. Elevation changes. One or two longer straights. Very tight, very technical. Has a bit of everything. I'm going to actually experiment something real quick. Since people were telling me, turn it at 1.0 and then... But I'm not sure if that's the right thing to do. So... Actually, I think this is better. Turn down to 0.3. Maybe a little better. Thank you, Bartek K. Thank you for subscribing. I wonder if it's because of my stream that I'm noticing a little bit of latency from the steering wheel, because normally I'm not seeing that. How do you get the Le Mans track? Hold on a sec. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'll paste the link in the description that I got it from. Hold on a sec. So, one sec. Let's do that real quick. Okay, if you refresh the page in a minute. Yeah, so if you refresh the page, it should pop up. So what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to set up a race. So we'll do a fun race real quick. And then... Well, Avid Chronic, if you drop it in my Discord channel, I can post it. So we're going to do a 25 lap race. And I'm going to change the race around. So, bit of a crazy example. Yeah, that should be an interesting race. So in the middle of the race, we have rain come up. And I'll take the cowl away. And I'm actually going to do Silverstone for this, because that's a track I know relatively well. So we'll set up 25 lap race and should be pretty fun. And then I think this will be how I'll end the stream. So 25 lap race at Silverstone, that should be close to an hour, I think. So I need to make sure I have some controls mapped, I think. So we will do that while waiting. Freaking load screen. Interesting, Michael. Hopefully that will help reduce prices on graphics cards. So let's see. Settings. Display, yes. Okay, that should work. So yeah. Hold on. If I remember the P2M, those are the rain tires. So we'll run a couple laps. Robert, what were you asking about for Drive Hub reprogramming? Trying to remember. Whoa, that's a little slideways. Yeah, I'm not sure on that off the top of my head, Robert, unfortunately. Looks like this is going to be a challenge. So let's just get this started for you guys. Achievement unlocked, racing at dusk. Okay. Whoa, okay. AI is wigging out. AI is... Whoa. Something is... Oh, wow. Okay. That was a punterino. What the heck is going on with AI? Looks like it's... Is it something weird in this latest patch? I don't even know. Oh, we got one spinner. Two spinners. Whoa, he just... Okay, you don't have to cross the track like that, man. But something is weird with the AI right now. Something is up. Why are they stuttering like this? Okay. So they all put it in for wet tires. I think I'm already on wets. I'm kind of at a loss for words right now. Something is glitched with their AI, or maybe it's me. Maybe it's something that, like, I think I recently switched versions of rFactor 2 and I forgot to check integrity, but I don't think it would cause that issue. What the flip? Let's check something. So they're 12 seconds behind now. One thing I will give rFactor 2 credit for, the rain is starting to look a lot better. Seeing the reflections on the track might be slightly over-exaggerated. Maybe a little bit. But it looks good. So when they refine and improve rain and make it higher quality, I could see this being a great wet weather sim. I mean, it already is, but looking better. We're starting to see the puddles form. Looks like I can't hold a chance against the AI now. AI hasn't been normal since the latest update. That's frustrating because rFactor 2 usually has some great AI, but if they're acting up like this, that's no bueno. That is not good. That's like 1 step forward, 3 steps back. Yeah, Lena, that's really what I feel is the case, because look at this. Look at how good it's looking right now in the rain. Puddles forming. Seeing the reflections in the track getting saturated, and just the challenge of it. It's really getting better. But the problem is, so we have these improvements, but now the AI is struggling. It's glitching and spinning, causing stuff. It's like, as said, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Oh wow, Miles. That's... I'm sorry to hear that, man. It's always tough to hear news and things like that where it's always a risk when you have a situation where when you put on that helmet and get into a vehicle and race, especially karts, that is a risk that you have. And when you're racing, you are aware of that risk. Sure, you compartmentalize it in the back of your head and you don't think about it while driving, but that is a risk that every single race driver takes on when they strap up and get into a racing vehicle. And sometimes it's sad. It's tough where when sometimes the Reaper does cash in the check. But at least we can have some solace in knowing that he was doing what he loved. That's at least one positive thing, where anyone who gets into a racing vehicle is aware of the fact that there is a chance, no matter how slim, that they could die in that vehicle or die because of that vehicle. But that's also part of the thrill of racing. That's part of the thrill of getting in that vehicle, flying down a track and just risking it all. That's part of the love for the sport, and that's why we see drivers like Senna, and they push and they push and they're fully aware of that risk. And that's what makes them a race car driver. That's what sets race car drivers apart from, say, an idiot sitting in a garage holding onto a fake steering wheel. It's that risk, it's that danger, it's that thrill. And yeah, that's something that you have to be aware of. But yeah, I know it's always tough to hear, so sending you and everyone involved best wishes. I know it's tough, but yeah. Whoa. I am not doing well right now. I'm curious, is it forecasting that the rain lightens up? So let's change topic of discussion. We were talking about it a little earlier. So here's a topic to discuss in the chat. Do you think that Studio 397 should cut their losses and start working on a successor to rFactor 2? Do you think that they should make rFactor 3 or make their own racing IP? And do you think that would work? That should be an interesting topic of discussion. And the leader spun, and I'm trying to steer down, But yeah, it's tough because rFactor 2 is still a very competent title when things are put together. When things are put together properly, it's really solid. And oh, it's that. This is all first-party content. This is all first-party GT3 content, but apparently there's some stuff that's really, really starting to glitch out. And Apparently the AI is broken right now, so they need to fix that ASAP. But yeah, the problem is there's so little that is actually really well done. For example, I was talking about Real Road. Not all of the first-party tracks have Real Road presets. Time of day and date is iffy. Damage model. In some ways, it's some of the best damage, and in some ways, it's some of the worst damage, which is a complex enigma. For example, rFactor 2 is an ISI motor-based titles. They're one of the only sims that allow you to actually knock off a wheel. So, for example, Assetto Corsa, iRacing, you can't lose a wheel in that title, but rFactor 2 you can. But at the same time, for example, Indianapolis with the IndyCar, you can misjudge a corner and hit the wall, and you'll be fine. You can hit a wall at Indianapolis at 200 miles an hour with an IndyCar and get away relatively scot-free. That's not right. That's not realistic. And then, for example, I was driving Indianapolis with the stock cars earlier, and you scrape a wall, and you don't lose any speed. That's a problem. Whoa. And you can see in the rear view mirror, that AI car just totally blew that corner. But I think one major telling sign that will come up in sim racing is if GTR3 does well. Or if A, GTR3 does well, and if B, if Assetto Corsa Competizione does well as well. I still have trouble pronouncing that though. But if ACC does well, then I could see that marking a major shift in sim racing. Sure, ACC is going to be very svelte in content because it's the BES official title. But I could see if Unreal-based sim racing titles do well, I could see that being a massive boon for sim racing. But something that kind of scares me is I think in the near future, we might see a major reduction or drop out entirely of the third-party modding community for sim racing. Because soon we might reach a point where games just get simply too difficult to mod for. We might hit that soon. Whoa, okay. I gave him room. I gave him the inside. He just didn't take it. But man, the rooster trail's right there. I bet in 2 laps or so we're going to need to switch to slicks once the track lightens up a bit. Okay, how much you guys want to bet that this guy's going to miss the corner? Boom! How much you want to bet? I'm going to miss the corner. Oh, crud! Okay. That was like no regard for my safety. which is very uncharacteristic for rFactor 2 AI. Very uncharacteristic. They really need to fix this. And I got Punterino'd again. That was my mistake. I gave him the inside line and he decided to turn right. Okay. So yeah, this is painful. They really need to fix this experience. Because when it's done properly, rFactor 2 has some of the best AI in all sim racing. This isn't it. Something must have went wrong in a recent update, where now it's causing this stuttering mess. So I'll have to talk to Studio 397 and see what the issue might be. For all I know, it could be something on my end. It could be a setting or something. A little wide there. Hopefully it's something that I might have messed up and it's not representative of any of the recent updates. So if any of you guys actually drive rFactor 2, could you tell me if you've had this issue recently? And can try to find out how to get to the bottom of it. But nice touch though. So the race is progressing and you're seeing a dry line forming. You're seeing a dry line form over the racing line. So the dynamic track rubbering in and whoa, okay. I left the inside for him. I left the inside. He just wouldn't take it. So freaking uncharacteristic of rFactor 2 AI. So after the stream, I'll have to verify the integrity of the game files, I guess. That has to do with the Microsoft April update. Did I download that? I don't remember if I downloaded the Microsoft April update, but it could be something. Well, that's messed up. Because I remember hearing people talking about the Microsoft update. I don't think I set up the update, but it could have auto-updated on me. I don't know. So that's a pain. Hopefully that's fixed ASAP. But yeah, seeing the stuttering car, it's like, eek. Hey, Hash. Yeah, I was having issues with that Le Mans track, so we ended up switching. Alright, Miles, you have a good day, man. So I'll have to see what I can do. Dang it, completely missed that corner. I'm driving worse than the AI right now, and that's saying something. I think I might cut this race short at 10 laps. Because I need to figure out what's wrong with this. Yeah, Hash, that's the frustrating part because it does have so much potential. So we were talking about the idea, should it be something for Studio 397 to cut its losses and ultimately start rFactor 3? I'm currently not on slicks, I'm on the wets. But also, it's been over the course of a longer race, so over the course of a longer race, these get worn. They don't look too bad on wear, though. I believe I'm on wets. I want to say the... Oh, hold on. I think the P2Ms, those are the wet tires. P2Ms, I believe, are the wets. Those are good points, Hash. And the thing is, rFactor 2 was already somewhat established. So the thing is, rFactor 2 is an established title. So they don't have to register the IP or register a game title or anything like that. They can build off of this, and who knows, maybe they can pull a rabbit out of their hat. But they do have their work cut out for them. So at lap 10, I'm going to end this because I want to solve it and then I'll take my result. But gotta admit, it's a cool experience. They have the potential. They just need to flesh it out. They need to make it better. Hopefully they do. But yeah, it's kind of tough. So like AI missing the corner every time. That's a problem. That is a major problem because this is first party car and track combo. This is a first party car and track combo. These things are supposed to not happen. Thanks, Zadist Gaming. Thank you for dropping in. And then, yep, the car spins out there, and unsafe track entry. Ish. At least they are side-by-side racing right there. But stuttering again. Fun stuff, DJ. So, sounds like you didn't have this issue. So hopefully I can solve this problem. Maybe I have to clear the CBash and shaders folder or something like that. Old rFactor 2 fix. Please don't hit me. They didn't hit me this time. Alright, so I'll do one... or actually, no, this is 10th lap, so... I'll call it now and see if I can try to fix this. But yeah, it started raining again. Alright guys, so that was 10 laps at Silverstone. We ended up finishing 6th. So, Zadis Gaming, when I'm getting closer to the AI, they're stuttering like crazy. You'll see. It makes it look like, we are having a major issue. So that's something I'm a little nervous about. So I need to see if it's a problem with the sim, or problem with file configuration, problem with my OS, but I'll figure it out. But yeah guys, I think I'm gonna call it. I want to diagnose this issue, and then I have another video or two I want to work on this afternoon. Hopefully I could get it out by Tuesday or Wednesday. No, Marfran, this was AI. That's the problem. This is an AI race, so there's no reason they should be stuttering like that. Literally no reason they should be stuttering like this. And then missing the corners and everything. There's no reason they should be. Because this is first party cars, first party track, and AI. So it could be something wrong on my end. I am admitting that because always jumping between different files and stuff. So yeah, you can see them stuttering ahead. So yeah, these guys are likely going to miss the corner. Yep, they missed the corner. And you just see them stuttering. It's like, why? Well, okay, that's one way to catch a slide. But yeah, so hopefully I can get to the bottom of this. Hopefully I can figure this out. And then I'll post a Twitter update once I figure out the update or what went wrong. And then also I'll post it in the Discord if you guys aren't part of it already. I recommend you join the Discord channel, link in the description. But yeah, for now, I'm gonna figure this out. Well, Stuart, some of the big reasons they do it is for weather, time of day, different racing disciplines. I'll try kart sim more later on. I want to do a VR impressions video talking about kart sim and VR, but obviously I need to fix this issue first. But yeah, so I'll look into that and figure it out. But yeah, for now, I'm going to figure out this problem because this is a bit of a major problem. Hopefully it's something on my end, and I'll keep you guys posted. And I'll be working on more videos later. But for now, you guys have a great rest of your day, and I just had a CPU lockup, so we'll figure this out. But for now, you guys have a great rest of your day.